such a fascinating story, isn't it? You know, that everybody has to go back into the tank. You know, you always have to go into the tank when you're at the poker table, but when someone asks you that question, you go back into the tank and you think, how was your journey? What led you to become a poker player? And for me, it was quite simple, really. It's not a complicated answer, because my father was a greyhound trainer, so most of my childhood was always accompanying my dad to either the greyhound track or let's say the betting shop or the pint of pints, and also the road bowling as well down around our way. And Carrigaline was always a big thing as well, so it was basically no escaping the noose for me. I think that gambling and cards and darts and rings and all of those things, I was destined to take part in that the crazy ride that we all know of poker. Well, that's interesting. I actually have a life outside poker, like most people do. I think you can't be too consumed by the game because it's such an emotional ride, not to mention a financial ride, that you know, you have to be truthful to yourself here. You know, you have to set guidelines, set limits, and understand that no matter how good you are in the game, you know, you can't beat the game every time you play it. It's just, there's too many things that are just out of your control. So once you accept that and understand that the highs in poker last only 1% of the lows. I mean, the lows are 99%. You know, I'm sure you got the camaraderie and the friends like the Paul and Porrick and Dunnick and Liam and Jamie and these wonderful people. But, you know, when you sit back in your bed at night or in the chair and you're scratching your head and saying, gosh, I really felt good coming into this tournament and I thought it was going to be my day today. But, you know, it's still, again, the lows are there last longer, so you can set goals for yourself, but you have to be realistic as well. So for me, I'm fortunate enough that I do have something other things going on as well. I'm actually a carpenter and kind of plasterer by trade. You know, I was working the building sites in Carrigaline and stuff, and I worked on the farms and picking spuds and cooking cabbage and, you know, picking stones and all of those things. We used to have a great laugh, and you know, at the end of the night we'd always end up around the card table. But and then I've got 3 beautiful kids now. I just had my 3rd child, 2.5 weeks old, who I miss dearly, and so for me, my family is, you know, whenever I get knocked out of a tournament, like especially like the Irish Open or the main event at the World Series, I mean, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, like, you know, and I really take it to heart, because I expect it to give my best out there, and you know, until they can come up with some antidote how for kings to beat aces, I guess, you know, that's how I was knocked out at kings against aces, and I was heading for the door. But I'm just blessed with 3 kids, with wonderful friends, and you know, poker's been so good to me. I'm very fortunate, so I'm quite happy to have it be a big part of my life. Well, when you have kids, it's almost like a poker game non-stop, because sometimes when I'm about ready to lie down at night, I feel violated because my 2 young, I have a 6.5-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they can buy and sell me. These kids are as sharp as a tack, and you know, I think I said, no, sure, right, we're going to bed now after this. This is the last Thomas the Tank Engine. Once this is finished now, we're going to bed, right? Okay, Ted, no problem. Yeah, you know, and then no sooner with and the music's coming on at the end. All right, lads, into bed. No, Dad, one more. And I give in to them, and so I can't win that race at all against these lads. So, yeah, it's a crazy ride. Well, in 2007, after going to the World Series, since 1998 was my first World Series that I attended, and it took me 9 years. It was 2007, and the poker gods, I think, collaborated up there and said, you know, Leary has suffered enough. He's suffered enough. I'm starting to see the lines in the forehead, and you know, just give the man some jewellery, because he's entitled to it. He served his time, and I was just very fortunate, and I was fortunate with the event that I won as well. It carried a lot of weight, obviously nowhere near the kind of weight that my good friend Jamie, when he won his, with the amount of runners that were in his. But there were 3,000 players in this event, and at the time it was the biggest tournament in poker history outside the main event, and that just had an awful lot of media exposure to it, and so it was wonderful for me. And even at the time, I didn't kind of even realise what it was that I achieved. I mean, when everybody else at the final table, I'll never forget it, when everybody else at that final table was tussling with Full Tilt and Poker Stars and this and that, trying to get a contract and who was going to sign who, lads, I just waited for this moment all my life, you know what I mean? I just want to win this title. It would mean the world to me. Money will come and go, lads. I mean, you know, it's an important part of the life, believe me. But when you're old and grey, possibly even balding, and I'm sitting back in the rocking chair, I'll be able to say to the grandkids, like, your dad was world champion, and though it wasn't a main event or a championship event, it was still one of the biggest tournaments that was ever played, and it's a bracelet. And as a poker player, I think that's what everybody thrives to take down. Well, unlike Jamie, for me it's not clear cut either, I suppose. But I love, one comes with the other. It's the camaraderie and stuff that you get, whether you're at whether it's a tournament at Boyle Sports or whether it's a tournament at Paddy Power's. The amount of fun and excitement that is had by everybody who turns up and attends and playing these great games. They know that once they walk into those rooms, or even if it's sitting down at home and you're playing on boylesports.com and you're having your little game, or you're on paddypowerpoker.com or whatever it is, should you win this tournament, it could change your life. If you win 30-40 grand, well, that takes a chunk off the mortgage, it does this, that, so but all the fun and excitement that comes with it, it's drink and poker kind of, especially in Ireland, I think, and in England more so than in the States. Now, Scotty Wynn is the man, the master. They like to have the beer, which I very much admire them, and I kind of know them a little bit. They like to have the beer when they play all the time. So I suppose for me, it's a tough one, because I have a few beers before I play the event, and I definitely have a few afterwards. So I suppose it's probably a tie. I don't think I could do one without the other. You know what I mean? That might sound a bit crazy now, but for me, it's a package. Poker is a package. It's no one thing. It's friends. It's the experience, it's the goal, it's the achievements, it's the failures, and you celebrate with drink when you win, and you commiserate with drink when you lose. So I'm taking a tie on that. Wow, that's a very interesting question. My compliments to the chef, whomever wrote that question. Well, Marty is a dear friend of mine, and as we all know, is probably Ireland's best player, and has been for the last couple of years. Very fortunate that I can call him a friend of mine. Brad Pitt, on the other hand, is he's a handsome bastard, isn't he? But you know what I mean. I shake his hand with men and stuff like that. His wife is gorgeous and stuff. But the fact that he's got kids and I've got kids, and I respect that, and he wants to have more kids and adopt kids, and he's putting his wealth to good work, and someone I kind of admire about him. But I suppose, touching a little bit on what Jamie said earlier, to live and walk in the shoes of Brad Pitt, I couldn't even imagine this, could you? I mean, you walk down the road, you're mobbed, you have people, as James is going through, the rubbish and this, that and everything else. It would be a crazy life. So for me, I'd take Marty Smith, provided I get to take his money with it. Ooh, flipper. You see that swimmer? Does he swim? I think he swims in Cove, doesn't he? He does the skinny dip. Yeah, the polar bear dive, I think he does that down in Crosshaven. Fountain Stone at Christmas and stuff. Nicky Power is he's a legend. I mean, Nicky Power has been around the game for so long. But truth be told, Flipper Walsh is also a dear friend of mine, and he's someone who's got a dynamite game. And both of these players, I don't think I'd take one game over the other. But I suppose I'd just have to go with, I'd have to take Nicky Power, because I figured Nicky'd be able to last long. Let me explain myself, Ciaran. The reason I take Nicky is because I know Nicky'd be able to last longer than you when we're out in the piss. You'd be at home in bed sucking the thumb, and Nicky'd be still out, and we'd be singing rebel songs, but as for their game, they're both top class players. Well, actually, I do. Let me tell you about